Now, I don't know about you, but that just sounded absolutely perfect for a Saturday afternoon. Share Believe. That was Mel's choice in North's knockoff. She could have had Bewitched, or what were it called again? To You I Belong. She decided to stick with Share Believe. Most people on the text are saying that Mel made the right choice. Wow, Jordan, I didn't know that I knew all the words till this. It's still a banger, says Dan in Lincoln. It's a bit old, 1998, I know, but it's a great song. Craig in Sunny Newton says, name one song that beats this. Name one track. Absolutely the right choice. Katie Norfolk says, literally love this song. It's helping me clean. Thank God for Mel, says Ed in Somerset. You're a champion. Cher is the queen, 100% right choice, says Danny in Manchester. We'll bypass the fact that she said Cher Believe is an alright song. I know, I can't believe Mel said that. Says TJ in Norfolk, but he says that's a banger. And Beth in Runcorn says, I was shouting at the radio, Jordan, do not knock off Cher, do not. One text out of all the texts we've had is Shannon in Nuts that says, you definitely should have played Bewitched. Disappointed. Another day off.
BBC Radio. This world can hurt you, it cuts you deep and leaves a scar. Things fall apart, but nothing breaks like a heart. And nothing breaks like a heart. I heard you on the phone last night. We live and die by pretty lies, you know it. We both know it. These silver bullet cigarettes, this burning house, there's nothing left, it's smoking. We both know it. We got all night to fall in love, but just like that we fall apart. We're broken, we're broken. Nothing gonna save us now. Well, this broken silence by thunder crashing in the dark, crashing in the dark. And this broken record spinning less circles in the bar, spin round in the bar. This world can hurt you, it cuts you deep and leaves a scar. Things fall apart, but nothing breaks like a heart. And nothing breaks like a heart. We'll leave each other cold as ice and high and dry. The desert wind is blowing, it's blowing. Remember what you said to me? We were drunk in love in Tennessee, and I hold it. You both know it. Nothing gonna save us now. Nothing gonna save us now. With this broken silence by thunder crashing in the dark, crashing in the dark. And this broken record spinning less circles in the bar, spin round in the bar. This world can hurt you, it cuts you deep and leaves a scar. Things fall apart, but nothing breaks like a heart. And nothing breaks like a heart. Nothing breaks like a heart. And nothing breaks like a heart. Nothing gonna save us now. Nothing gonna save us now. With this broken silence by thunder crashing in the dark, crashing in the dark. And this broken record spinning less circles in the bar, spin round in the bar. This world can hurt you, it cuts you deep and leaves.
The small circular window is ice stretching to the far horizon. An hour later, the same. The following hour, no change. You get the picture. We finally land after 3.5 hours in the air. The nearest human habitation, the US scientific base we flew from, is now as far from us as Moscow is from London, and there is only ice in between. The sheer size of the ice sheet makes it almost impossible for visitors not to reflect on the insignificance of an individual human being. It makes you feel so small, is what everyone says. But dig a bit deeper and you discover most people don't mean they feel a sense of
as follows. There's probably no point in ever restarting any football in Scotland ever because it's rubbish.
We've known for over 2.5 weeks now that Scottish football is terrible. The case in point being we haven't qualified for the World Cup in '98. Scottish people need a far better distraction through culture, through music, through film, because good films and music will never let the Scots down. Their football teams, whether internationally or locally, always will. I'm talking about the Old Firm, and I'm talking about the Hibs, sadly, as well.
How did you get that to 20 seconds without any ability? If you don't even have a clock in front of you, I will tell people at home you cannot hear the music that everyone's hearing at home.
Because sadly, you sometimes can't see past the looks. There's a brain working here as well, you know.
Well, you both had to slag off your own team. Rick had to do it. Dougie, you did it out of choice by putting Hibs in at the end. So for that reason, for falling in your own sword, Dougie Anderson wins this episode of Fight and Talk. Tamsin, you're currently... I can see what you're doing right now. You're currently telling... She's brought her kid in the shot. I cannot...
Well, listen, I never make the final. I never make it, so he's in. He's here.
Do you know what's so funny? Now you're going to find out the exact reason why I don't have kids on Fight and Talk. Look how cute! Look how cute! Oh!
You dock...
Hello.
Every time you dock me points for this.
Hello.
Every time.
Well, let me tell you what's going to happen to your mum next time she's on Fighting Talk. She's going to lose 3 points. She's going to lose 3 points. Yes. Smiled at that. Actually smiled at that. Tamsin, listen, thank you so much for doing this and have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Adam, do me a favour, mate. Try and eat a salad over this after this Chinese. You can't go more than 7 nights with a Chinese.
Like there's onions in a curry. That's enough.
Rick, I've no. All I can tell people is out of where everybody recorded the show today, your setup would say that you have the most to hide. I know. There's no pictures in the wall. There's no furniture. There's just a radiator and a blind pulled down. You scary
Yeah,
man.
he's in a safe house.
You can't see that the floor is entirely covered in plastic sheeting as well.
Thank you, Rick and
Thanks, man.
Dougie, for wearing a suit to do a pre-recorded Fighting Talk from your home and to actually put some daffodils over your shoulder. It's just that alone was worth 3 points before we even started. Absolutely sensational. What a gentleman. Have a good weekend, everybody. Dougie and everybody listening. I'll tell you exactly how it's going to be done. Until I tell you there's not a Fighting Talk next week, I can guarantee there will be a Fighting Talk next week because we've recorded a realistic show. It's not topical. It's going to set up for every week. So every Saturday, at this time as we say goodbye, I can tell you there will be a Fighting Talk next week. Happy days. Look after yourself. Look after each other. And look at that. Hello there. 3 points off. 3 points off. Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks for having us, man.
Cheers. Thanks, man. Be safe.
Cheers.
Fighting Talk is a World's End production for BBC Radio 5 Live.
Digital, BBC Sounds, smart speaker and online.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
BBC News at midday, this is James Kelly. Frontline NHS staff in England will start being tested this weekend to see whether they have the coronavirus. Workers with symptoms, or those who live with people who have symptoms, will be checked, starting with critical care doctors and nurses. It follows criticism over a lack of testing for health workers. The chief nurse at Milton Keynes University Hospital, Nikki Burns-Muir, says it's vital they're able to carry out tests on medical staff.
It makes the difference of whether a staff member is off for 7 days or 14. And a number of our staff are so committed with providing them with free accommodation. They're moving in, so they're away from their families so that they aren't going to be required to self-isolate for 14 days. So it is absolutely key. We've got key members, clinicians that need to be there when the intensive care demand goes up.
The Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, says it's very hard for people working in Westminster to maintain safe distances after Boris Johnson and the Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, were diagnosed with COVID-19. Mr Burnham is calling for tougher regulations for the workplace.
It would seem that some are nowhere near observing the safe distancing rules laid down by Public Health England. So I would like to see a stronger policy on workplaces now. You know, we're about to hit the critical phase of this, and we shouldn't be allowing this virus to spread unnecessarily.
5,690 people with the virus have now died in Spain, after more than 830 deaths were reported there in the past 24 hours. Only Italy has seen more fatalities, more than 9,130. Wuhan, the Chinese city where the pandemic began, has partially reopened. After 2 months of isolation, people are being allowed to enter but not leave. South Korea says that for the first time, it has now more people who have recovered from COVID-19 than are still infected. It marks a turning point for a country that was once the worst affected outside China, but officials have warned there's still a long way to go. A 2-week lockdown has come into force in Ireland. People are allowed to leave their homes only for work if their job is considered essential, to buy food, go to medical appointments or to exercise. Police in Britain have the power to fine people who ignore the government's rules. The former Olympic cyclist Chris Boardman says people need to ensure they don't get too close to others if they do go outside.
If we cannot keep at least 2 meters apart, then we shouldn't be doing it. It doesn't matter how you're travelling. Having said that, it is an excellent way to get that mental release. It's more about mental health at the moment than it is physical. And for me personally, I've changed the running route that I use at the moment to make sure that I'm on a path that's wide or a piece of road so I can always sustain it.
Aldi is the latest supermarket to give priority to key workers. The retailer said that if nurses, police officers and firefighters show a valid ID, they'll be able to go ahead in queues and get early access to stores on Sunday. BBC News at 3 minutes past 12.
Available now on BBC Sounds.
Replay with Colin Murray.
Hello, I'm Colin Murray, and I've been given exclusive access to nearly 100 years of BBC Radio sports commentary. Corridors and corridors of vinyl, and in each one of them contains all BBC Radio archive. The Commonwealth Games is on that one. Brazil 1962 World Cup. This is the history of BBC sports radio commentary, and I get to pick out the best bits and give you so many podcasts to listen to.
Replay with Colin Murray. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Well, we missed the music, so welcome to Saturday's 5 Live Sport. No live sports, of course, but a host of big names to make up for it, including the newly crowned BBC Women's Footballer of the Year.
Free kick to England, wide right. Beth Mead drives it, edge of the box. Lucy Bronze into the net! That is why they tried to fight her, and it has come up for England in style.
We'll hear from the reigning manager of the month in the Premier League.
Oh, what a goal by Rodriguez! And for a third successive season, Burnley find themselves 2 goals to the good at Old Trafford.
Plus, we'll have a boxing world champion.
Featherweight champion of the world, Josh, the Leeds Warrior, Warrington.
And as well, there'll be Sir Alistair Cook, Tommy Fleetwood, Dan Biggar, Frankie Dettori, Daley Thompson and the boss of Super League. Good afternoon, welcome to 5 Live Sports. So we're here until 3 o'clock. Colin will be back from 3. So we put our correspondents and commentators and reporters in all the various sports to the test this week. Asked them to bring a big name to the 5 Live Sport party, and they've certainly managed to do that. So plenty of guests over the next 3 hours. Dan Biggar, Josh Warrington, Tommy Fleetwood, to name but 3. We will keep dropping them in, and that really will be 1 till 3. We're going to do football the first hour, so we've got a couple of big football guests as well with me for the whole hour. Dion Dublin and Karen Carney. Clinton Morrison will join us as well, but in these difficult times for everybody. Technically, we're a little bit reduced, so we can't have Clinton on at the same time as our first guest because we don't have enough lines to be able to do that. So first of all, afternoon Dion and afternoon Karen.
Afternoon.
Afternoon, mate. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. You both well?
Good. Yeah, good, mate. I'm all right. I'm not bad, thanks. It's a good job, actually, not having Clinton on all the time. He does talk some rubbish.
Karen, how are you? You've gone early and he can't respond because he's not on yet. Go on, Karen.
I know, he's attacking him now, isn't he, while he can't respond back. But, yeah, I'm really good, thank you. I was hoping to speak to Clinton as well, give him some stick, but we'll save that for later.
You can, yeah, keep your powder dry. He will be on very shortly. The first of our big name guests over the next 3 hours is with us straight away, though. England and Lyon defender Lucy Bronze. Afternoon, Lucy.
Good afternoon.
Where are you, and are you safe and well? First of all.
Yeah, I'm in Manchester. Safe and well.
Okay, are you out for your daily exercise? It sounds like you might be outside.
Yeah. No, I've just got in from a run.
Oh right, okay. And earlier on this morning, you were on with Chris and Scott as well, putting your music knowledge to the test. Did it go well?
Yeah, it went well. I think I got the easier side of the bargain, to be fair.
Yeah, Russell Kane didn't sound very happy at some of the songs that you got compared to some of the songs that he got. Moving on to how you are at the moment, then. When did you actually leave France? When did you get back here? And how was it in France when you left?
Well, obviously it's kind of ahead in France a little bit. So I was meant to have a game, was it 2 weekends ago, against PSG, which is kind of our big game of the season for us. So that ended up getting cancelled. So I flew back to England for the weekend, and it was within that weekend when France went on lockdown. So luckily for me, I ended up being stuck in England, and then it was obviously a week later when the lockdown happened in England.
And I mean, are you able to stay in touch with your teammates back there? Because I'm guessing you've got teammates who are a little bit all over Europe, are they, at the moment?
Yeah, all the French girls are still in France. Yeah. The majority of all our foreigners got back to their home countries. But yeah, we've got a group chat going at the minute, and our sports scientist pretty much every day puts a little video in of him on his balcony, doing little challenges, little exercises, and everybody's got to do them. Send in your time and see who kind of beats whose time, who's got the best time each day. So it's a little bit of fun, I guess, a little bit of competition for us.
Well, Dion's doing something similar, aren't you, Dion? You've already boasted, I noticed this morning, that you've burnt it up in your gym, and now, Yeah,
I did a little bit this morning. Nothing like Lucy would have done, to be fair. Hi, Lucy. Very nice speaking to you.
Hiya.
Can I ask Lucy a question, chap? Is that all right?
Yeah, that's how this is worked. It's just meant to be a general chat amongst people.
Yeah, but I didn't want to butt in over Lucy. Lucy, what I wanted to ask you is, you don't take penalties, Lucy, do you? Now, I've spoken to... I was very lucky to do the Women's World Cup, which was amazing, by the way. Thanks for that. And I spoke to Jordan, I spoke to Alex Scott, I spoke to a lot of players, and they were saying, Lucy should take it, Lucy should take it, Lucy should take it. And your attitude, when I'm watching you on the pitch, is very much I can do this. When you go down the right-hand side and you link up with Nikita, I can do this, I'll go down there, I can get playing midfield. Your attitude's very, very positive. From the outset, from the outside, should I say, looking in, you're a very positive player. How did you get that? How did you instill that in you? Did somebody instill it in you?
I don't know, I think I definitely know what you're talking about. I feel like that when I'm playing. I think it's something that I've just always had from a young age. I think the reason I started playing football was to not only be like my big brother, but to beat him. I've always just been competitive, and I think that competitive edge has just gone into every single time that I play. I want to be the best, and I want to win what I'm doing.
Luce, it's Kaz here. How you doing?
Hi, you right?
Yeah, I'm good. I know that competitive side. I trained with you regularly, but I want to know who's winning the challenges that you've been setting at Lyon. Then who's topping the board? Surely it's got to be you. Come on, you got to rep England here.
To be fair, I've not really been doing them. I've been doing like England programs. It's only the French girls that are doing it within themselves. I think Wendy Renard's at the top of the leaderboard on the one this morning. Just
come on.
WhatsApp before. I know I'm not doing them. You want me to do it just so I'm on top.
So what would the England training programme be typically then, or can you not say?
Can't say confident. No, it's confidential. No, I think it's just different. Like, well, Lyon to England is anyway. Like in Lyon, it's body weight things. It's more like circuits. Whereas in England, like everyone's kind of. I've got a watt bike at home. A lot of the girls have been sent watt bikes to do stuff like that. I've got the bar at home, all the equipment in my garden now to do proper lifting sessions and stuff like that. You know what I'm talking about, all that kind of thing.
I know, that's why I retired, mate. I didn't want to do it anymore.
That's why we all retired.
yeah. No, but fair play to you.
So the England sessions are more, what are they? More physical?
I think most countries think that, apart from the USA, probably think that we are one of the most physical teams in how we train and stuff. My coach at Lyon always has a joke of, because there's 3 of the England girls there now, including myself, and whenever he says, oh, you've got a day off, he's like, England girls don't go in the gym just because you've got a day off. So I think we've got a reputation for being in the gym a lot.
Izzy Christiansen was on the show with me not that long ago, while she was still at Lyon. I know she's moved back over here now, and she said one of the things that she benefited from when she moved to Lyon, because she didn't have a brilliant grasp of French, was that it simplified the game for her, because she only had a set number of words that she knew or a set number of words that she understood, and therefore it stopped her overcomplicating things. Can you understand where she's coming from there?
Definitely. Well, we still have players in our team now who don't understand anything that the coach is saying if he speaks French. Luckily, the coach now speaks French and English. But yeah, we have players who literally they have to just play off the movement or off like the gestures that you're showing them on the pitch, because even the men's team's the same at Lyon. I know a lot of them can't speak the same languages as each other. A lot of them don't speak French. Some of the French players don't speak English. So you kind of just have to, like, when coaches say just play what you see, you literally just play what you see. That is what you're doing.
This is not a trick question. I'm not now going to ask you to then speak French, but are you learning it? How's it going?
Yeah, this is my 3rd season, so I have to be pretty good at French now. I wouldn't say I'm fluent by any means, but I'm kind of the one who's been given the translation job. So if someone's speaking in French, I have to translate it into English for a lot of the foreigners.
So you're helping Nikita Paris out then, Luce?
Yeah, exactly. Well, to be fair, Keita's alright because she tries. She's one of them. She'll just get straight in. She'll get stuck in. She doesn't care what she looks like. She'll just give it a go. Whereas Alex Green was a little bit more timid. Doesn't want to look stupid. But I think you've got to accept that you're going to look stupid sometimes when you learn a new language.
So you will know, though, that there are players in men's and women's football who could have had 3, 4, 5 years in a foreign country and not actually learnt the language because they surround themselves with either friends or expect a translator to do it for them. So I would suggest you're quite unusual in that, guys.
Yeah, it's funny because when you say it like that, I can see that probably I'm quite unusual, and I can see how it'd be easy not to learn it, because I surround myself in everybody that speaks English. Like when I eat my breakfast and my lunch at the club, I sit with the foreigners, we all speak in English. I go home and I watch English programmes. So I do prefer speaking English. It's probably why my French isn't as perfect as it should be.
No, do you not watch French telly when you're at home? I used to. I say this every time I have somebody on who's connected with France, but I used to live in France. I used to love watching French quizzes. The Price is Right used to be on every single day when I lived in France. I learned so much French through watching that. But anyhow, go on.
They didn't say that though. My French teacher used to be like, "Oh, you're homework, go and watch it." I was like, okay, I'll do that. But to be fair, I used to watch TV in French, but I'd put the dubbing on in English and then the subtitles in French. I can read French really well, but I just constantly preferred it in English. Even when you go to the cinema, though, they're speaking in English and there's French subtitles. So when I'm reading, I'm solid. I completely do that. 24/7 I'm reading French, but to listen and to speak, sometimes I just need to switch my head off because it's too much for me. It's a complicated language.
Lucy, what's changed the most since the Women's World Cup for you?
For me,
in regards to the game and attendances, or I'm not quite sure what it is, but what's been the significant change since the World Cup?
I think the attention of the public and of the media. I think during the World Cup, as players, we felt the attention from media changed massively, and it's probably what we're used to seeing more in the men's game. Whereas in the past, women's football can be overly positive. Maybe it's because people don't watch the full games enough and just kind of see the results. But I think during the World Cup, there was more people watching who were picking the good, but also the bad, which I don't think we've really had before. And I think that was a real kind of shock to the system for a lot of the girls. And yeah, with that media attention, obviously we had more people watching in general. Just your everyday person from the street. There's a lot more people just more in tune with what's happening in women's football now and how the England team are doing, which at the moment is probably not a good thing for us, but it's still good that people know what's going on and are showing a huge interest. And I think that really changed. That's something that from the start of the World Cup to the end of the World Cup, I think there's a big change in both of those things.
Do you have to appreciate the criticism and the harsher attention? Does that make it seem, or does that validate it in some ways rather than just being cheerleading? Do you see what I'm trying to ask? I may have put that quite clumsily, but...
No, I do. To a certain extent I do, but I think I'm probably one of the players who's quite open to criticism, and I'm quite happy to take that criticism, but I still think because people see me as Missy Bronze of the past 5 years, that people look at me and go, oh, she's a superstar, she can do no wrong, more often than not, and it's more the players who don't really have a high profile who then kind of get dug out a little bit more than football. It seems to be because I think, we have this connection with fans, and it's predominantly the higher profile players that have that connection with fans and with media, who we're shown in a more positive light, which maybe we deserve sometimes we don't, but it just seemed to me from the World Cup it was like, the better known you are, the less you can do wrong, and the less known you are, the more that you're doing wrong.
Yeah, that makes sense. When you talked about the competitive side of you when you were growing up, I've been having this debate with some people recently at grassroots level. I watch my two eldest kids play football or cricket. One's a boy, one's a girl, and there are quite often boys and girls on the same team. Even going into 2020 club cup games at under-19s level, and that's never sort of struck them as anything other than normal that there are mixed games of football and cricket going on at their age groups. Was that the same when you were starting out as a kid playing, or was it still very separated at that stage?
It was completely the same for me growing up.
Right.
I mean, I grew up in the back and beyond in the northeast. I mean, I was the only girl, and I think I always say that my brother played a big role in the fact that I'm playing football now, but he played a big role in the fact that I was accepted within that kind of group of boys, what it was. But no one ever seen it as a group of boys with a girl, because my brother was like, "There's my sister, she's coming to play. Let's play together," and nothing was ever said about it. It was only because of the FA rules when I was 12 that I had to stop playing, but before that no one had really said anything. Well, none of the boys that I played with did, none of the parents. It was just, okay, it's normal, it's just another kid playing.
Yeah, I have to say, Karen, that's what I've seen as well when I watch the kids do their sport. It's just a team.
Yeah, you just want everyone to play together, don't you, in terms of that. I think I'm the same as Lucy. Playing with the lads growing up made me a better player, made me more competitive. Was the only girl as well, and it kind of gives you that resilience to try and prove them wrong, and get picked last on the first day because you're the girl, and then get picked first on the second day was always kind of the motivation. And then it just happens. And I think what Lucy said there, it was to making it the norm, and I think that's what we're trying to do now moving forward, that it is the norm. And I think we've done that, and we've nailed it now. but I always saw it as an advantage for me playing with the lads, because it just made me better and more competitive and more hungry, to be fair.
I know you've got to go, Lucy, but just a final one, and Dion will certainly back me up on this. Virtually every hour I spend in Phil Neville's company, at some point I think, did he really just say that? The last one being when we did a match of the day together, and he said that Gabriel Jesus was ready to take over Sergio Aguero's mantelpiece, when of course he just meant ready to take over Sergio Aguero's mantle. Every hour you spend with him training or whatever, is it the same with you, group? Do you think, did he really just say something like that?
Absolutely the same.
Yeah.
All hours of the day. He'll say something, and you just kind of have to take a double look, and you have to kind of translate it yourself. He's speaking in his own language sometimes.
Lucy, thank you very much for coming on. We appreciate you. You're the first of our big name guests throughout the next 3 hours. Thank you for your time.
Congrats,
and
Luce.
stay safe. And
Thank you.
Congratulations
Cheers, Lucy.
on the award.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Well done.
Lucy Broad, the worst thing as well, Dion, he did it in the middle of doing his analysis, so I had to kind of bite my lip, otherwise I would have been on the floor of the Match of the Day studio laughing.
Fizzer does it all the time. He's got so many in his locker. Honestly, he does. I don't know. Sometimes I think to myself, he doesn't know exactly what he's saying. He has no idea. He's so intelligent. He's so intelligent when it comes to coaching. He gets so far ahead of himself. He actually forgets what he said.
Was he like that when you played with him?
Yes, he was. He'd say some stupid things as well when you're playing against him. He'd always try and leave one on you, by the way. A bit nasty little man. Apart from, honestly, mate, fullbacks, him and his brother, honestly, Kaz will tell you this is a striker. Always tried to leave a little bit on you. So sneaky as well. Don't worry about it. I clocked him.
All right then, Karen Witter. Who was the player who tried to leave one on you? Who was your worst opponent?
That's a bit harsh, digging him out. There was a fullback that
dig
used
him out, Kaz. Dig him out.
I'm gonna dig him out. That's harsh. There was a fullback that would, like, pretty much get into me very early, smash me or trip me up or go down my ankles quite early in the first 5-10 minutes, trying to intimidate me. There was a few actually. Probably worked half the time. Didn't want to play them once I got whacked. But no, there's a few. I think it's just dark arts, isn't it? If you can get away with it and intimidate the opponent and get the upper hand on them, then yeah, you've got to do what you've got to do. But sometimes it would rile me and it would send me the other way, and then sometimes I think, oh man, I'm going to switch wings here and get someone else on the other side, and I'll go on the other side. But
it's you know what, Kaz, it's a bit of a compliment to you though, isn't it, or to you, because they've got to stop you somehow. They can't stop you in a normal footballing way. So how else can we stop Kaz from scoring today? Because that's what she does. So it's a bit of a compliment to her.
No, it is. And to be fair, in my younger days, I used to do it the other way. I used to smash the fullback first 5 minutes, just to let them know that I wasn't scared of them, just because I had to kind of. And then as I got older, I got a bit more mature, and I thought, come on, know yourself now. So I started doing it. Too many yellow and red cards in my early starts of my career, so chilled out a bit as I got older.
How many yellows did you have? And not yellows. How many reds did you have?
How many reds?
I had a couple of reds very early on in my career when I lost my head quite a lot. The best, it wasn't the best one. The worst one was against Abby Wan back in America, where I thought I should have got a foul, and I absolutely scissored the most biggest, strongest female footballer you could ever imagine. And we were playing in this Washington Stadium. There was about 60,000. There was about 3 people there at the time. Got sent off and ended up sitting in the stand on my own and thinking, oh man, I need to call my mum home. Called my mum, said, Mum, I've just been sent off, and then obviously got into trouble and then got a massive phone bill because I ran home from America. So it's an absolute double whammy there. But sent off, missed about 3 games and got a massive phone bill at the end of it. So I learnt my lesson very quickly.
Let's bring Clinton Morrison into this afternoon. Clinton.
Afternoon, chappers. I'm not saying afternoon to the other two because I heard what they said earlier.
Oh, Clint, don't be like that. Come on,
They
Clint.
were very rude about you, Clinton.
And then I've just had to listen to them for the last 20 minutes.
Oh, wow.
I told you I'd get my own back.
Yeah, make sure you do. Which opponent used to leave the most on you?
Well, everyone tried to leave the most on me. Yeah. Chappers, as you know, I've got the biggest mouth in football, so I was the biggest wind-up merchant on the pitch. But I'd say one in particular was Danny Mills. Like, me and him, we always went toe-to-toe. He was annoying. I remember once I got called into the FA because he slightly did it off the ball where he just kept stamping on my feet, and he trod on it, and I swung a punch at him, and I just missed him. I went to the FA, and I managed to get away with it. But yeah, he was the biggest wind-up merchant. I really disliked him, but I like him a lot now. But I did dislike him when I was on the football pitch.
Right, massively. So hang on, when you went to the FA, so what was the setup? Because I mean, this may come as a surprise to some people, but I've been sent off in amateur football every now and then, and on the odd occasion I actually had to go and plead my case in front of the amateur FA, which involves going into this really bizarre wood-panelled room and talking to, well, in my case when I did it, 3 men who I think probably had an average age of 87 to try to show that I was innocent. So when you go in to plead your case in the professional side with the FA, is it similar?
It's the same Chappers. You go down to London.
3 blokes.
Yeah, you go down to London. You see the same 3 blokes that probably you spoke to, and they're there. You go with the people from Birmingham. I was at Birmingham City at the time, and you watch it on the video. But luckily, you don't see me throw the punch. You just see the aftermath of it. Yeah, so I kind of got away with it because I didn't want to get fined or banned. So luckily, but yeah, he did know how to wind me up massively. But I thought, Dion, I thought your worst one would be Robbie Savage, because I did play in that game where you gave him the old headbutt, mate. I was there trying to calm you down after.
I didn't touch him, ref.
I had to control the big man and say, calm down, big man. By then, you'd seen the red mist. I couldn't stop him. I thought, go and then do what you're going to do.
You know what? Unfortunately, I'm not proud of it, I've got to say. But when the red mist descends, unfortunately, and Kaz will tell you this as well, it's the same. Something happens, something triggers it, Chappers, and it's best to stay out of the way. It's just leave me or leave Clinton to do what we've got to do, and then we'll take the punishment. Sav was possibly the best at it, along with Danny. Sav got me that day, to be fair. So he's got one up on me.
But if you are that character,
there's still some charity matches to come.
if you are that character. Yes. And no matter how many times pundits or fans or, say, ought to know better, shouldn't rise to it, this, that and the other, and it sounds like all of us might have this same character. When that red mist descends, there is not a lot you can do about it. No matter how stupid you're being, you can't. Yeah. It's the whole Stephen Peters angry chimp, isn't it?
It's Chappers, you're absolutely bang on, absolutely spot on. It's really. It's kind of immature, to be honest with you, and we shouldn't really get into that situation. You should know how to deal with it. I was old enough to know how to deal with it. But Sav, he did his job. He got me, and I couldn't get out of it. I couldn't turn around. Clinton rightly said he was trying to calm me down and trying to pull me back, but I'd completely gone. I just wanted to get hold of him.
You're not the first, and you won't be the last, mate. Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
Obviously, at this time, normally, in normal circumstances, we would be thinking about going to a game. There would be a game about to kick off. So I thought I'd talk to the 3 of you just as a what ground, if you had the chance today to go to a ground to watch a game, which ground would you want to go to? Which ground gives you the goosebumps or the feeling that this is proper football? And it could be at any level, men's or women's, whatever it may be, that ground that just gives you the tingle. And Karen, you can go first.
I've got to be loyal, haven't I? And the 2 lads have played there for me would be St Andrews, Birmingham, just because I'm a big blues fan, as everyone knows. And when they did the song that you go out to, the Tampere, and everyone was all clapping, and then during the game as well, when the subs used to come on and they'd all go shh, and then who are you straight on you. When you came on, I used to love that. I've been there since I was a little girl. So for me, St Andrews, but another big one was when I went and watched Liverpool versus Arsenal at Anfield. When I don't think I've really been at a ground where there was like the goosebumps were on my arms. Like it was just, I've never experienced that in any football ground other than at Anfield. So they're probably my 2 to go and to watch at games for sure.
So when you were you in the home end at St Andrews, or were you in one of the stands?
When I was watching, I used to go down all the time. So I used to stand behind the goal, obviously in the home end, and watch Clinton loads of times. I never give him any abuse. I thought he was the best player on the pitch as always.
That's a lie.
So I loved going to St Andrews, and it was probably one of my biggest regrets. I never got to play on there in a proper game. I played on there like five-a-side when I was little, but I never got to play on there in a proper game, and that'll always kind of, it doesn't sit easy for me, because that was always my dream to go and play there, whether it be for Birmingham or at England at some point, but it never happened. But it's a home ground, it's my home city, and I care about it a lot.
Give me a ground, Clinton, that if I was going to send you somewhere today, if we were allowed to, if life was normal at the moment, where would you want to go to feel like you'd had a proper footballing afternoon?
I would have to say it's definitely got to be Anfield, Liverpool, without a shadow of a doubt. Having played there so many times, the atmosphere, Karen's right, I get goosebumps when I used to come out in the tunnel, but I took my kids 3 or 4 years ago to go and watch. What an experience, actually going and watching it, like, as a fan watching it from above. It's sensational, to be fair. The atmosphere, the fans are involved in it. It's always noisy. It's just a brilliant atmosphere. My kids love it. They're not Liverpool fans. They're trying to convert them to be Liverpool fans.
I was going to say, I thought your kids were Man United fans.
No, they are Man United fans, but they just want to go to nearly every ground and watch a game. So we went and watched Liverpool, but the atmosphere was superb. We've been to Old Trafford. Old Trafford's good as well. That's brilliant, but the fans are probably not as engaged at Old Trafford as they are at Liverpool. The atmosphere is unbelievable.
Dion?
I would go, for atmosphere, I think if you're speaking to players that have retired, chappers, I think you're always going to get an old stadium. Like Kaz has picked an old stadium, Clinton's picked an old stadium. What I mean by that, not a Spurs or an Arsenal. For me, Villa Park is, when it's rocking, it's incredible when it's rocking. I tell you another place. leave it out, you two. Another place which is always rocking, and Clinton will tell you this better than anybody. When Palace is rocking, Palace is rocking, the atmosphere there, they are so close. It's just absolutely outstanding. So if you were to say to where do I want to go for a day out, for the atmosphere, for a bit of fun, do a bit of singing, I'd probably say Palace.
I go there all the time, though, Chapper. So that was too easy for me to say.
A bit of, and I know of it. Karen's already booed it, and Clinton will disagree with it as well. But just as a fan who goes to, and now in a working capacity as well, Villa Park was always my favourite ground as an away fan, and I also think FA Cup semi-finals have a part to play in that. Not even necessarily going as a fan to an FA Cup semi-final there, but seeing FA Cup semi-finals on the telly at Villa Park, that's a very sort of special childhood memory, I suppose.
Yeah, I'd agree. I just think that Villa Park, it's got the Villa Park's got the big end, the whole 10. Liverpool have got their end. The white wall at Spurs is impressive, but it's a new stadium. It's going to take time for the atmosphere to settle down in there, and Arsenal as well. So I'm always going to go old school, chappers. I'm 50 now, pal. I've got to go old school.
I know, but you're looking good for it, Dion. It's all that.
Stop it! You two, stop it now. I'm going red. You can't see, but I'm going red.
It's all that time in your home gym at the moment, and the makeup on Homes Under the Hammer, I would have thought.
Yes. I need more of that.
When you played at Anfield, you didn't touch the sign, did you, Clinton? Or do you?
100%, Chappers. I'm always like that. I'm the naughty kid. I'm the naughty person. That's always walking out. You hear the song, you never walk alone, and you're walking out. You see all the Liverpool players touching the sign, and I looked behind to one of my players, and I said, yeah, I'm going to do this. I don't know if I get into trouble, but I touched the sign. It was brilliant. I felt good. Some legends have touched that, Chappers, so I thought I'm going to try and touch it. I'm not going to be as big as any of the players that played at Liverpool, but I'm going to definitely touch that sign, that's for sure.
Where did you get the most stick, Clinton?
Everywhere I went, Chappers, probably. Everywhere.
Really?
Everywhere. I was just a wind-up merchant. I loved it when fans started booing me. I'd probably say Millwall was They don't like me at Millwall, to be fair.
Right.
They really hated me there. I could hear once where we were playing a game and the fans started saying, Millwall's going to get you. And I was like, oh my word. I was proper. It kind of made me a bit intimidated, to be fair. They probably the fans who give me the most stick. But everywhere I go, I go at Liverpool, I get at Villa Park, but I know I get at Aston Villa because I always used to score against them, and Birmingham always used to beat them. So it's one of those things. but I would say probably Millwall I got the most stick. But the reason why I'd say Chappers I got the most stick is because I was the type of character who liked to get involved with fans. I liked it. It kind of gave me the buzz and it spurred me on to do even better at football.
Dion?
Where did I get loads? I didn't really get a lot of stick. No, I never did. I didn't really engage. I wasn't one of the players, and Clinton will tell you this, I wasn't one of those. I wasn't very vocal on the pitch in regards to the opposition, to my team. I was captain. I'm very, very vocal, but I never got engaged with verbal abuse from the fans and stuff like that. I just try and score a goal and then find the guy that gave me the stick, and then that's it. Job's done. So I didn't really get any stick. Birmingham, obviously. I got a load of stick there when I played. I got a load of stick playing for Birmingham, played against Birmingham when I played for Millwall. Because we beat Birmingham 1-0 in the playoffs years and years ago, and I got absolute dog's abuse, and I needed security to get out the ground at the end of the game.
Did you?
Yeah, I needed security to get. There's only a small chap. It must have been at 20 yards, 30 yards from where we come out as a player to the coach, and I needed security either side of me because the fans were trying to get hold of me because I was an ex-Villa player. Playing for Millwall, we just beat Blues at Blues 1-0, and I scored the only goal.
Okay,
I needed the security.
That does take it to a slightly different level, doesn't it?
Oh gosh, yeah. Oh yeah. But it's just that's it though, isn't it? They're fans. That's you kind of want that from the fans, to be angry and aggressive towards you. Obviously, you don't want to get hold of you, but you want that kind of, that's what I do. I score a goal and I've ruined your night. Sorry.
How much stick did you get, Karen?
Not too much. I think everyone was all right in the women's game. We got a little bit from Villa every time we played them, just the usual. But I think the one time I did get a bit of stick was again when I got sent off against Arsenal when I was playing for Birmingham, and there was only probably about 500 fans there at the time, and I think about 300 of them wanted to kind of, similar to Dion, wanted to say some things to me and had to have a few people around me to protect me and get me back on the bus all right. But so a few Arsenal fans were chasing me down that day, but other than that...
Did that take you by surprise? Because, that isn't a regular occurrence within the women's game.
It was quite a while ago.
The abuse is much more prevalent, isn't it, in the men's game? And therefore, when it is going to happen like that, then that must take you aback.
I mean, yeah, I was pretty young as well, and I was like, oh no, what? I just went in, I saw red mist and got sent off, and I'm sat in the stand and getting loads of abuse at it, and it was just going backwards and forth and stuff, and in the end we just had to come away and kind of get escorted onto the bus, which was again, you just learn, don't you, and you don't put yourself into that situation at the time, but it was especially because I was young, I wasn't used to it, but it made you grow up a little bit quicker. But other than that, I've been, touch wood, quite lucky. But I think if I played in front of the fans that perhaps we would do now, I'd be a bit like Clinton. I think I'd give it massive to the fans. If we played against Villa or played against someone that the fans, I'd probably have a bit of character about myself to go up and shush them or put my hand to my ears or something like that, just a bit of banter. But because that's what you want, that you want those characters on the pitch, I think, and that's why I like watching a game when those personalities came on and showed the passion for their clubs and stuff. I think if I was lucky enough to have that many fans when I used to play, then I probably would have done that.
But you will have known, Clinton. You will have known teammates who go the other way in a hostile atmosphere. And Dion might guess what I'm talking about here, but one of the current rotation of pundits on Match of the Day, I can remember hearing a story about him. He went back to one of his former clubs, came out for the warm-up. They were giving him a load of stick in the warm-up, and he had to ask one of his teammates what they were saying, and his teammate said to him, "Oh, don't worry about it. They're just saying how much they liked you when you played here, and how they're missing you." Because he knew if he'd have actually said to him what they were saying, that could have affected him all the way through the warm-up and into the 90 minutes. Dion's probably guessed exactly who that is, but, it can go the other way.
Yeah, it can most definitely go. If you let it affect you, I wasn't really one who could let it affect me. Whether you give me stick or don't give me or praise me, I did like the praise. I'm not going to lie to you. It wasn't a confidence issue I suffered with, but I did need that loving from the fans. No, Chappers. But I did need. See, everyone thinks that I am actually a shy lad, Chappers. If you get to meet me, because I know you now. Look, Dion, but I know you, big man, so I'm comfortable around you three because I know you. But when I first meet someone, I actually am kind of shy until I warm to you, and then you get to see the real Clinton, and the confidence comes out. So, but when I crossed that white line, I was different. I went into game mode, whether he gave me stick or praised me. But 9 times out of 10, I got the praise because I was scoring the goals. But it can affect different people at different times. Most definitely when you cross that white line.
Clinton Morris.
You have to. Sorry, Chappers.
That's all right.
Just to clarify, you have to be two people when you're a professional athlete, regardless of what it is. When you go over the white line, and Clinton and Kaz will tell you, you have to be a different. You can't be the same person. You can't be the people that we are now because we get on with chatting away, we're having a laugh about Birmingham and Villa. But go over the white line, everything changes, Chappers, and that's your job. It's like you going into work right now, and you've got to be on it to ask the questions to make sure that the show runs smoothly. But with us, over the white line, that's it. It's all about war. It's all about winning the game.
I think that's what I miss. I miss being that different personality, crossing that white line and being in that arena and being that performer where you can just be someone totally different. And when you come off the pitch, you're back to normal. And a lot of people said that to me. You've got such a different personality. Like you can switch like so quickly. And that's the thing I kind of miss actually. Is being that little rogue, that little annoying person on the pitch. I'm sure I am that off the pitch as well. A lot of people say that, but going on that pitch and just being a completely different animal at times and doing what you got to do. And
is that missing it mentally or physically or both?
I think it's both, but I think mentally as well. Like literally, I think I was a different person when I used to play, and like I said, a lot of people would say that. They'd think a lot of people would judge me for how I was on the pitch and think, oh God, she must be an absolute right so and then they'd speak to me afterwards and they'd be like, oh, you're completely different. And that's what I miss. I miss that competitive edge, I guess, at times. And I think the lads would be exactly the same.
That's what people used to say to me, Chappers, as well. That's what they used to say to me. I bet when you're on the pitch, he's a right so-and-so. When he gets off it, they still think I'm a right so-and-so, so I can't win.
Our next big name guest throughout the afternoon on 5 Live Sport is the Burnley boss, Sean Dyche. Afternoon, Sean.
Afternoon.
How are you? Are you well? Are your family well? All okay?
Yeah, good. Yeah. Just jet washing everything that I possibly can. I'll put a day aside for my teeth because that'll take at least a day.
We've been having a discussion about the grounds that would give you a tingle or the grounds where you would get the most stick. When you were a player, where did you play where you got the most stick?
Everywhere. Yeah. No, I think having ginger hair, you're going to get a bit. So I've probably had every ginger joke there is on the planet. I think anyway. So I always get a bit of that, and then you just get used to it. It's just part and parcel of it, but nowhere in particular, I don't think.
Do you, as a manager now, when you go to grounds, in the build-up to it, are you aware where some of your players might get more stick than others? Do you have anything to deal with that in the build-up to a game?
Not really. I mean, you get some ex-clubs and stuff like that. You get a bit of. It's almost sometimes it can be friendly fire though. It's a bit. I always get a bit of Millwall, but I had a great time there. When I'm a manager, I get a bit there. Whenever I've been there, Bristol City, I think that's such a good time there. It's fair to be said. I get a little bit there. No, players-wise, it's normally old clubs and different things like that, but it can often be a bit of friendly fire.
Obviously, it's a very serious situation that's going on at the moment, and as we say throughout when doing sport, the concern is the health of the nation and everything that is going on with people who are suffering with this virus. At the moment, for you, how difficult is this, as far as a professional point of view and the job at this period?
Well, I think it's important to make clear, we like everyone else, we are on the government guidelines as well. So, myself now, I'm in my house with my family. So we are all trying to play our part in the bigger picture and the greater good, firstly. Secondly, we get some guidance from the Premier League that goes into our clubs, and then also, having like sort of a bit of health and well-being. First thought is, when you just go into our group, is that the players okay and their families okay, but not so much the virus, but their mental health, their welfare, their physical health. So we're doing a bit of that, making sure that there's the necessary lines available if they need them, the necessary people they can speak to within our group. And obviously nowadays we've got a lot of support, the sports science support, so they can still have a routine and a regime to stick to. We've got dietary support and also psych support if they need it, players or their families, if they do need that kind of bit of support, because it is awkward for different reasons, for different people for different reasons, rather.
Daichi, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks, big man.
Good man. Listen, pal, just a quickie. What are the biggest differences for you as a manager now from when you were playing? I played with Daichi at Millwall, Clinton and Kaz.
Yeah. Were you a centre half then, Dion, or were you centre forward?
No, you're joking, aren't you? I with him and who was it? It was Daichi and
Nevers.
Was it Nethercott? Nevers, yeah. Stuart Nethercott, yeah. So,
I think, to be fair, Dion, just before you carry on, I think particular 3-0, I think, against Clinton, when I asked Tony Warner to give him the ball, to give him a kick.
He's just
he didn't have a chew out because he was chewing. Let me tell you, he was chewing like a good. He was Roberto Nivolino. He was a proper Roberto Nivolino.
Over to you, Clinton.
I don't remember that game. To be fair, I don't remember. I always remember getting the better of Daichi. I think so anyway.
It's funny, every centre forward ever played against says the same thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Good chappers, we had Daichi, we had Stuart Nethercott, we had Tony Warner, myself. There were some big characters within that dressing room, and people that used to come and play against Millwall then. I was only there for a short period, don't get me wrong, but during that period, we had Timmy Cahill, Paul Eiffel, it was Stephen Reid. Oh my word, what a group of players we had, and a group of players to go into, to try and settle down into, was very, very difficult, because as you would imagine, chappers, they weren't shy. They weren't a shy bunch in that dressing room, let me tell you.
It was often said, if I could just get over my Patrick shyness, I'd do all right.
But Dodge, just so I can clear this up now, what's the difference now from when we played to now? Because you're in the dressing room, you're still in the game. What are the differences that you're having to overcome that you find difficult?
I think, what do you mean on the bonding side or the character side, or just...
Yeah, characters in the behind the scenes, at the training ground.
I think there's a lot more outside advice now. Some very good for players, because it's important they get that advice for their own careers and their own kind of the welfare and benefit of their own careers. But that can also go the wrong way when it becomes quite insular, and some of the belief in the team kind of gets stretched a little bit. We're big on that side of things, so you can imagine, we have to, I feel, form a strong unit, because that's part and parcel of us, continuing sort of our journey in the Premier League as a club. I believe in it anyway, by the way, but I still think it's relevant if you can bring a group together. And within all them characters, it doesn't mean that you're stifling them characters. They can still be them characters, but they've got to be a set of key core values that everyone adheres to. And I think if you can get that kind of culture running through your playing staff and your staff, by the way, if you get that kind of true line running through the group, then everyone's got a base to work from. And if they all know what's expected and then can still flourish and be themselves, from them key core values, and I think that's important, and that's certainly what we've tried to instill, in Burnley, and I think that's an important part of it. But now I think it has got more difficult because there are bigger challenges on the outside of you being a manager and your staff and all the things that you want to stand for. There are more voices, right? There's more outside influence from social media and media, and all these things do play their part. So that's got more difficult, but I still think it can be achieved as long as everyone's willing to buy into it.
I still remember the line you said to me at the cup final when we did a cup final together, Sean, where you said that being a manager now, you are in charge of 25 chief executives, because that is what a player is now. They are the chief executive of their own company, own brand.
Yeah, I think it's going more like that. I mean, with all due respect, we're still Burnley. It's still not a giant of football. Big in the sense in the Premier League, but not. When you look at some of the massive clubs that are in the Premier League and outside the Premier League as well, there's still some big clubs in the Championship, of course. But I think if you're Or now looking at your Man Cities and your Liverpools and, you know, Man Uniteds, you know, amongst others, Tottenham, Arsenal, you know, all the big clubs, they're kind of like mini companies. You know, these players now often have a group around them, the team beyond their own sort of personal team, almost like you imagine you hear stories of top-level tennis players, you know, they have their little group around them, and that can be good, you know, the enhancement of detail in your performance. I mean, the most obvious on the good side of things, I think, is Harry Kane. He seems like he surrounds himself with a team of proper people, all wanting the same thing, which is for him to be the best. Sometimes I think that can be interfering. You know, you get different messages and different stories and different viewpoints going into a player on a more constant basis, the time that you get or your staff get to work with that player. So I think that could be a big challenge, and I think that's the way sport in this, professional football, particularly Premier League football, is going a little bit. I think it's going towards the American idea of, you know, it is not just the career on the pitch. There's the, you know, you always see the story, the boot deal and the car deal and et cetera, going on around it, and the advertising deal, etc. So I think there is an element of that. But yeah, again, I think if you change the psyche of that, when players come into the working environment, they can almost strip that off. You know, we almost say, strip all that back, and when you're in here, the kids in a sweet shop again, we're just playing football. You know, we're just a group of people, all even, we're all playing football, we all want the same thing. So we try and strip any kind of ego down a little bit, so that when we're in the group, it's almost like the freedom to go and be yourself and just relax and play without all that stuff.
At the moment, how, with everything that's going on and you being at home, and I know you're jet washing and this, that and the other, how much is football consuming your thinking? How much are you trying to use the self-isolation and the rules that we're being told to obey? How much are you using that to maybe give yourself a break as much as you possibly can?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of looking at it like a working break, like kind of like a pre-season thing. Now, obviously, the difference is not going away from where I am, but, you know, time with the kids. I mean, I live in two different places, so time with the kids, I've got a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old, you know. I now know what peng means, for example, so that's good.
What did his dad said he knows what did he say peng means? I like it, mate, I like it.
In it, is it? I've heard that it's now is it, not in it. It used to be in it, now is it. So I'm learning that. Yeah, is it? So I'm learning that. No, I mean, you know, joking apart, a bit of time with the family, a bit of real life, and you know what? Look, we all hope everyone gets through this, of course, that's a given, but behind that, a bit of quality family time. You know, even my kids' age, you know, they are that sort of gadget age, you know, but they're even parking that a bit, sitting down, having nice family meals, chatting, you know, a bit more time given to some of the simple things. And, you know, if there is a benefit to my time, that's partly what it is, just you know, getting that bond or renewing bonds that is sometimes difficult for me because I'm on the road a lot, I live away a lot, you know, that's been quite nice. And other than that, you know, just trying to bring a bit of like relaxed focus to it, so it's still there, it's still in the back of my mind. I know that it's, well, hopefully it is going to resume, it is coming, but trying to sort of lower down and switch off a little. Remember, you know, football is what it is, it's very important, it's nowhere near as important as what's going on. So I know where it lives, I know it lives in my private and personal life, I equally know where it lives in life, and this is a way bigger thing than what we're just talking about with football.
Absolutely, and I know as well that Burnley are paying all their casual staff as well, aren't they? So as we've been saying for 2 weeks now, whilst we know where football stands and sport stands in the importance of things, given the financial dependency, not of the players or management team or whatever it is, but those casual staff who help get football on a Saturday and midweek, you know, they're the ones that the sport and your club in particular are trying to take care of.
Well, I think the prudent side of the club and the planning, as you know, when you're just forgetting about the bigger picture for a second, when it's in my world as a manager, that's tough sometimes. We do run the club very, very prudently. It's very well managed as regards to finance, but that makes it tough as a manager because we don't always stretch that enough. But when you now bring that out to the bigger picture of what's going on, that means the club's in a very healthy financial position and structured very well. So hopefully we can do the right things. I mean, I do feel for, you know, a lot of what I'm absorbing a lot of news and life for once. You know, because in football you can be in a bubble, and I don't think necessarily companies don't want to do that. I'm sure there's companies who are desperate to make sure they can look after it, but it's not that easy, I'm sure. I'm not saying it's easy for Burnley, but at the minute, the club, the chairman's made a decision that'll be carried through, and we'll see what comes of that and see how long this goes on for. But I don't think it's just our club. I think everyone, if they can, will be looking to help others and do the right thing where possible.
Daichi, if there was 3 players right now that you're thinking, oh gosh, I wish they were in training, who are you worried about? What players are you worried about?
You can't ask that.
I'm worried about Moni, the assistant manager. I'm worried about him, that's for sure. Players-wise, do you know what, Dean? Joking apart, and I think, players have changed. They're not, the old days of, the sort of pub thinking and nights out. It's changed now. They're not really that way. God, I'll be very surprised if our players are not pretty diligent, looking after themselves, looking well, watching what they eat. And all. I mean, we have said some, by the way, there is a switch-off period as well. We said, look, you've got to switch down a little bit and ease down, but still just keep a basic level going. And then, obviously, when hopefully things are more set, for dates, then we can start ramping that up again. But it's important they do take some downtime, because you'll know it is. Look, I know footballers get questioned a lot and they earn money and all that, but it's still a very pressurised job and it's a very stressful job. And so, they've got to try and find some form of a positive out of this situation at the minute. And if that's a bit of downtime, that's great.
Just before we let you go, just to go back to your kids and the gadgets, they've introduced you to Zoom, haven't they? That's what I've heard.
Zoom. I've got Microsoft Teams. I had a meeting for Microsoft Teams. I've had Zoom. Is there one called House Party or something?
Yes,
House Party is good. Yeah, House Party is good. Add me, Daichi. We'll talk.
I'll be knocking proper moves on that. He knows what I've got. He got a lot.
And have they given all the gadgets then? Are you playing them on Xbox or on PlayStation?
Absolutely not. I prefer to get a blue spoon and ram it in my own eye socket. It's good that they're buzzing off it, to be fair. Not so much my daughter. My lad has a go on the football mainly. But no, they're not gadget mad, to be fair. They have their moments, but they're not gadget mad, and we've kind of encouraged them not to be over the years. And so we're still in the garden, fortunate in that we've got a bit of garden, so we can, get out there and try and, just do our bit when we can as a family unit, and I think that's still important.
Sean, it's been a joy to have you on. We always appreciate you giving us your time. Thank you. The highlight of that is I know you're going to be dancing on House Party. And
seriously, jumpers, you ain't got a Scooby, mate. They know
and hopefully in different times when they come along again in the future, the next time you put the headphones on for Sports Report, I expect Peng to be in there at some point.
I'll be more, is it? Okay. Just draw it out. I'll just draw it out.
Take care. Stay safe, Sean. Thank you.
Look after yourself, everyone.
Thank you. Sean Dyche, the Burnley manager. You would love to play for him, Karen, wouldn't you? You'd know where you'd stand.
Oh, he'd definitely keep your feet on the ground, wouldn't he? Yeah, he just sounds... Every time he speaks, he just speaks sense. He's humble. He's realistic. Yeah, I'd love to play for him. He seems like a top guy.
Now, we've only got about a minute left of doing the football. Alistair Cook, Dan Bigger, Frankie Dettori, Daley Thompson, just some of the names who are on the way. But Dion, if people don't follow you on Twitter, I think you just need to put this out to people, because you found a way where you could get zoo animals in your house without any danger.
Yeah, what is that? What is that, man?
Yes. Yeah, it's I forget. All you have to do, right? I'll tell you quickly. All you have to do is type the name of an animal into Google, and then all you have to press there is view in 3D. Then you'll get it on your phone and you can play about with it and stuff. So yeah, I've got a few lions. I've got some monkeys.
Tigers.
In the house.
Yeah. Pandas. You can do it with a panda as well.
And there's an eagle in there as well, Chappers, which is very good.
Oh, Clinton will do that then from the Palace point. Hey, there you go. Listen, thank you very much to all three of you, Karen and Clinton, and Dion as well. It's 5 Live Sport on a Saturday afternoon. No live sport, obviously, but in the next half hour we'll talk to Alistair Cook and Tommy Fleetwood.
On digital, BBC Sounds, smart speaker and online.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
BBC News at 1 o'clock. This is James Kelly. NHS leaders say coronavirus testing for frontline staff in England will help to make sure that enough doctors and nurses are there to cope when demand increases further. Workers with symptoms, or those who live with somebody with symptoms, will be checked first. The aim is to ensure that anyone who tests negative can return to work safely. Percy Wace is a final year medical student at Liverpool University who's about to start his job early.
Everyone's a bit nervous. Hopefully we're prepared as best we can be. And I think what's been really nice is that now we're kind of due to start. A lot of the senior clinicians have provided support. We're going to be given buddies in the older years, so as junior doctors and then senior doctors as well, to make sure we're well looked after.
The Secretary of State for Scotland, Alistair Jack, has become the latest senior politician to self-isolate. He says he's developed mild symptoms associated with COVID-19. Councils in England say their workers have been attacked as they try to enforce rules on social distancing. They say a cyclist deliberately rode into one officer, breaking his leg, while others have been spat at and racially abused. The local government association said the incidents were unacceptable. Spain has recorded its largest daily number of deaths related to the virus, with an increase of 832 in the past 24 hours. That brings the total to nearly 5,700, second only to Italy worldwide. The Chinese city of Wuhan, where the coronavirus pandemic began, has partially reopened after more than 2 months of isolation. Stephen McDonnell reports from Beijing.
People are still not allowed to leave Wuhan for another 2 weeks. But the first train services into the city at the heart of the coronavirus crisis have begun. Local transport connections for residents there are also resuming this weekend, including underground trains. Outside of Wuhan, other cities in Hubei province are opening again to the outside world, although delays in removing roadblocks at the border have resulted in scuffles as people whose movements have been restricted for over a month and a half sought to leave.
Children have ended their first week being educated at home after schools were closed because of the outbreak. Millions of children are being taught maths and English by mums and dads who are often struggling to combine working from home as well. Michael Yeo, who's 13, is being homeschooled by his mum Marie. He says he's learned some new skills, but thinks the experience isn't as good as being in class.
We just get set some work online on like an app called Show My Homework, and we just use that. And then every time it will tell us what to do, and we can submit it online. So it's really not that different. It's just you haven't got a teacher there to answer your questions or your friends or anything. So it gets a bit boring sometimes.
Playing classics now, friends. Of course, that is Al Green with Take Me to the River. So let's keep it going with Roy Ayers, some Lifeline. This is Running Away. That is my man Roy Ayers with Running Away. And my meat of the week on last week's show was Jazz is Dead by Adrian Young and Ali Shaheed Muhammad. The album features great appearances from jazz musicians, including Roy Ayers himself. So let's do a double Roy. Here's the track he's on. It's called Hey Lover. was Adrian Young and Ali Shaheed Muhammad with Hey Lover featuring Roy Ayers from the album Jazz is Dead. It was my meet of the week on last week's show. Go get it if you can. You got some time on your hands. Do it, baby. Here's Wild Sugar. We bring it all over here.
Give, I will give in return. You know I'm really good.
one, the B-side to Messing Around. That's Wild Sugar with Bring It Here. You're listening to The Huey Show on BBC 6 Music. Coming after 1:30, I've got another block party for you. In the block party, we basically just throw it down for 15 minutes or so, inspired by New York block parties back in the day. This one features D-Train, the BBQ band, Harvey Mason, he's the baddest cat, and Alphonse Mouzon. Wherever you're locked in, it's party time, it's time to dance. So here's El Michelle's Affair doing their thing they do so well. love El Michelle's Affair, and they got a new record out called Adult Themes, the soundtrack to an imaginary movie, which is a lot of this stuff to what I do. Anyway, keeping that going. The revolution will not be televised, friends. We know that. So here's Gil.
You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox in 4 parts without commercial interruptions. The revolution will not show you pictures of Nixon blowing a bugle and leading a charge by John Mitchell, General Abrams, and Spyro Agnew to eat hog maws confiscated from a Harlem sanctuary. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not not be brought to you by the Schaefer Award Theater and will not star Natalie Woods and Steve McQueen or Bullwinkle and Julia. The revolution will not give your mouth sex appeal. The revolution will not get rid of the nubs. The revolution will not make you look 5 pounds thinner because the revolution will not be televised, brother. There will be no pictures of you and Willie Mae pushing that shopping cart down the block on the dead run or trying to slide that color TV into a stolen ambulance. NBC will not be able to predict the winner at 8:32 on report from 29 districts. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of Whitney Young being run out of Harlem on a rail with a brand new process. There will be no slow motion or still life of Roy Wilkins strolling through Watts in a red, black, and green liberation jumpsuit that he has been saving for just the proper occasion. Green Acres, Beverly Hillbillies, and Hooterville Junction will no longer be so damn relevant, and women will not care if Dick finally got down with Jane or Search for Tomorrow, because black people will be in the street looking for a brighter day. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no highlights on the 11 o'clock news and no pictures of Harry armed women liberationists and Jackie Onassis blowing her nose. The theme song will not be written by Jim Webb or Francis Scott Key, nor sung by Glenn Campbell, Tom Jones, Johnny Cash, Engelbert Humperdinck, or The Rare Earth. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be right back after a message about a white tornado, white lightning, or white people. You will not have to worry about a dove in your bedroom, the tiger in your tank, or the giant in your toilet bowl. The revolution will not go better with coke. The revolution will not fight germs that may cause bad breath. The revolution will put you in the driver's seat. The revolution will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. The revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution will be live.
From a classic record, Pieces of a Man, Gil Scott-Heron with The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. And here's a little session track, Driving You Insane by the Buzzcocks, baby. That's Thundercat with Dragon Ball Do-Rag. We all got one in the closet. Now it's time for your BBC News at 13:30 or 1:30, depending.
Music.
This is BBC Radio 6 Music.
BBC News. NHS leaders say coronavirus testing for frontline staff in England will help to make sure that enough doctors and nurses are there to cope when demand increases further. Workers with symptoms or those who live with somebody with symptoms will be checked first. The aim is to ensure that anyone who tests negative can return to work safely. Percy Wace is a final year medical student at Liverpool University who's about to start his job early.
Everyone's a bit nervous. Hopefully we've been prepared as best we can be. And I think what's been really nice is that now we're kind of due to start, a lot of the senior clinicians have provided support. We're going to be given buddies in the older years, so as junior doctors and then senior doctors as well, to make sure we're well looked after.
Councils in England say their workers have been attacked as they try to enforce the rules on social distancing. They say a cyclist deliberately rode into one officer, breaking his leg, while others have been spat at and racially abused. The local government association said the incidents were unacceptable. The Secretary of State for Scotland, Alistair Jack, has become the latest senior politician to self-isolate. He says he's developed mild symptoms associated with COVID-19. Spain has recorded its largest daily number of deaths related to the virus, with an increase of 832 in the past 24 hours. That brings the total to nearly 5,700, second only to Italy worldwide. Children have ended their first week being educated at home after schools were closed because of the outbreak. Michael Yo, who's 13, is being homeschooled by his mum, Marie.
We just get set some work online on like an app called Show My Homework, and we just use that. And then every time it will tell us what to do, and we can submit it online. So it's really not that different. It's just you haven't got a teacher there to answer your questions or your friends or anything. So it gets a bit boring sometimes.
That's the 6 Music News. The next update's at 2:30.
BBC Radio 6
Music. Now on BBC Sounds. 6 Music. 6 Music.
Going back, I'm not going back. Be your house, burn it to the ground. Deep like the river falls. On the other side, peace never.
from Radiohead, Ed O'Brien, also known as EOB, taken from his new record called Earth, coming out on the 17th of April. Now let's vibe with some Beastie Boys with their man Q-Tip. Yes, let's get it together.
1, 2, 1, 2, keep it on. Listen to this cause we keep it till dawn. Listen to the ass track, got it going on. Listen to the ladies, come on and let me spawn. Or your eggs, then you go up the river. Listen to the ass track, that freak.
Now I'm at rockin', I shockin', I tickin', I talkin', I can't stop with my body rock. See, I got heart like John Stars, hitting mad spots. Pass me the mic and I'll be rockin' the whole part.
On the M to the C to the A, and it's a must. The rhymes that we boss on the topic of lust.
And my rhymes is not but. Let me get down to the rhythm. Yes, I get funky and I shoot it on my jism like John Holmes, the X-rated. Listen to the, cause I am the ill figure. Nobody's getting any bigger than this.
Get it together. Get it together. Get it.
Phone is ringing. Oh my God.
Get it together. See what's happening.
Add rocks down with the Ioni. Listen to this, cause both of them is bony. Gotta do it like this, like Chachi and Joni.
Cause she's and cheese and I'm the macaroni. So why all the fight? Why all the fuss? Cause yeah, you know I'm getting silly. Got a grandma, he's still in a grandma, chili. The Grand Royal Prince and I'm also a member. Born on the cusp in the month of November. I do the patty joke in case you don't remember. Well, I freak a beat like the was in a blender.
I'm born, word is born, don't need. You'll tell every right from wrong. I don't think I'm slick. Do I play like I'm hard, but I'ma drive the lane like I was ever Bernard.
And I've been working on my game. Life is taxing.
Gotta get it together and see what's happening.
Wait a minute. 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 Wait a minute.
See what's happening.
Go. I want to, like my name was Bismarck, but I had to do this. Just let me embark on the lyric, on the noun and the verb. Let me kick it off, cause no, I'm not the herb.
Well, it's not the herb, but the spice with the flavor. Just straight out the move with the funk for your dairy ear. Well, we're on the topic, yes. I like to mention when it comes to morning. Woo! I'm representing.
Space in, zone in, talking on the phone, and my brain is rolling. I don't know where it's going. A little tweaking on the weekend, gotta get 'em by the reins, cause I know that I'm freaking.
Well, I'm a funky skull and I'm a Scorpio. And when I got the flow, I'm Doctor on the go. So, Q-tip, what you want the mic for?
Because I had to talk about the times when I rhyme and when the MCs come in my face, I'm like Mace. Cause I back them off with the quills. Cause I had to tell you, cause I keep it under frills. Rest of 191, 116th Ave off of Farmers Boulevard, Boulevard.
But I'm from Manhattan, MCA's from Brooklyn. Yeah, MCA, you be cooking.
Rainman's on the court and I can't be beat. But yo, what's up with the boots on your feet?
Got the timbals on the toes, and this is how it goes. Oh, 1, 2, oh my God.
1, 2, oh my God. Got the kung fu grip behind my cream trap kid. Never, ever, ever smoking crack.
Never, ever, ever whack. I eat the pineapple now my latest. Listen to me now, don't listen to me later. Cause I know I didn't make it mine for real. But yo, technically, I'm as hard as steel.
Gonna get it together, watch it. Gonna get it together, my bell.
Like my bell, I got the ill communication. My bell, got the ill communication. My bell.
From Ill Communication, those are the Beastie Boys with Get It Together. Now it's time for the block party, friends.
Don't step until you reach higher ground. If nobody turns around, step on up
that you can have what you want. Be who you are. Sky is the limit and you know that you keep on. Just keep on pressing on. Sky is the limit and you know that you can have what you want. Be who you are. Sky is the limit and you know that you keep on. Just keep on pressing on. Sky is the limit and you know that you can have what you want.
Studio 54 is probably the Mount Olympus of the disco world. The people who set the style for disco really start all their numbers here at Studio 54. Right now it is the center of the universe for those who dance to 125 beats a minute.
Listening to the Huey Show on BBC 6 Music. Again, this is Larry Graham.
It's nothing like you ever seen before. People
say you got the time, wanna go there?
Are you ready or not? It's only up the street. Everybody's dancing and everybody's on the beat. Are you ready or not? It's where we both to be. Everybody's dancing and everybody's on the beat.
What you say? You and I should go together.
What you say?
It's for everyone to see. What you say? Baby, won't you come along with me?
Are you ready or not? I'm begging you now. Are you ready or not? It's only up the street. I'm begging you now. It's where we both to be.
How about your company this evening?
You said that you are free.
Take it out to somewhere really special.
Come along with me.
From what I heard them say, the music that they play is nothing like you ever heard before. Once you get to dancing, you can't stop your feet, 'cause the rhythm keeps in time. What you say now?
Are you ready or not? It's only up the street. Everybody's dancing and everybody's on the beat. I'm begging you now. It's where we both to be. Everybody's dancing and everybody's on the beat. Are you ready or not? It's only up the street. Everybody's dancing and everybody's on the beat. Are you ready or not? It's only up the street. Everybody's dancing and everybody's on the beat. I'm begging you now. It's where we both to be. Everybody's dancing and everybody's on the beat. Are you ready or not? It's only up the street. Everybody's dancing and everybody's
Yo, everyone out there, hello, hello, hello. This is J-Rock right here. You know what? Checking out the Huey Show on 6 Music. Hey, Huey, play something.
And that was the Block Party, and you heard D-Train with Keep On, Booker Newberry III with Love Town, BB and Q-Band with On the Beat, Harvey Mason, The Baddest Cat with On, and Alphonse Mouzon with I'm So Glad That You're Here, and I Am. And I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank my man T-Bone for making this happen, my people that listen, my people at BBC 6 Music. Giles Peterson is up next, and then Craig Charles is here from 6 p.m. We call this uninterrupted service. Friends, stay classy.
This is BBC Radio 6 Music.
6 Music.
6 Music.
Right now, it's Giles Peterson.
Like Duke Ellington said, like Duke Ellington said, like Duke Ellington said, what I do tomorrow will be the best thing I've ever done.
There's a lot of genre bending. There's a lot of people meshing a lot of sounds and doing things that we don't know what to call that, or we've never heard that before.
Man, that dude is just the innovator. Like, straight up, a bundle of inspiration all the time.
Giles Peterson. BBC 6.
saying do, everybody saying do, oh you know you got it no, saying do, everybody saying do, oh you know you got it no.
I don't know if you saw the Miles Davis documentary. They had it on. It is on the iPlayer and it's on Netflix as well. Both of the cool. If you're looking for things to, you know, at this time, searching for tips. That's a good one. And I thought I'd play. I think, you know what? At the end of the day, Sketches of Spain is the one I will always go back to by Miles Davis, and it wouldn't have happened if his first wife, Frances Davis, hadn't taken him to Barcelona and introduced him to flamenco music. So thank you, Frances. You are brilliant in the documentary as well. That was my opening song today. Extended show. We're live inside BBC Radio 6 Music. Jessie's got the mask on. And I've got the vinyls. The vinyl. I'm not allowed to say vinyls. It's not a word, apparently. And, yeah, 4 hours. Thank you, Huey. What a brilliant selection of tracks. I was listening to it earlier on and you were playing Middle Name Dance Band, that track from last year. Really good. Just hooked me in. Roy Ayers and Alphonse Mouzon. So, 4 hours with me. I'm going to hopefully take you into dreamland. Allow you to be entertained musically by me this afternoon. We're going to go back in time as well. We've pulled out a little classic BBC interview from, was it 2002? When I introduced NERD to the radio listeners at Radio 1 and chatted to Chad Hugo and Pharrell. And we're going to do a little tribute as well to the brilliant Cameroonian saxophonist, raconteur, Manu Dibango, who passed away this week. I'm here till 6, welcome along.
Front row, show. Campaign, let's go. Politics, no. Hip hop, high school. Rap game, show. People don't give me my props. Don't like them big ups. It's a success when I big drop. Rush to the store when they big cop. I don't believe in flop. Underground, mainstream. I brought punk to hip hop. I brought weird to the block. No major deals, but I finesse Coachella. With clout, love to think that they better. A comfort that you could never. Who cares if you bet? Cause I'm smart and I'm clever. Act nice just to get by. Deep down, I hate you guys. You guys are not my type. Don't with your dumb hype. 19, savage. Last year, there was practice. New, action. The game, I got passion. Glowing up, satisfaction. New year, reaction. Been down, it was tragic. Now I go hard like it's madness. I'm a rock star, I like fashion. Glove off, mask off, real soft, me. Glove off, mask off, real soft, me. Glove off, mask off, real soft, me. Me. You know princess be the mood board. You know princess be the move for. Industry who wanna be different. You still selling pop, who the f*** is you kidding? But they copy and paste, but they can't erase my right in my place. I showed them my face, I give them the eye. People said I was a witch, now I'm taking what's mine. I'm the little witch girl with your name in the pot. People wanna do me evil, now you see what I got. Now I'm flying on my broom, going straight to the top. Blogs, vote, front row, show. Campaign, let's go. Politics, no. Hip hop, high school. Rap game, show. People don't give me my props. Don't like them big ups.
I'd rather be breaking things, cause we can't sleep. I'd rather be listening to GB on the radio Saturday.
I'll keep holding you down, even though you're not around, so hard to get over it. I've tried to get under it, stuck in between. It is what it is, bye bye for now. I'll keep holding you down. You do it for me, you did what it is. Till it ain't, things will never be the same. Never be the same again. Everything's so strange. It ain't a game no more. We were just getting lifted. Yesterday. Now we're just reminiscing. Oh, yesterday. Keep my head up over water, my eyes getting bigger, the world getting smaller. I've been getting richer, only made me crazy. Mama said I'm different since I was a baby.
Mahima, oceans, give me a sip of that potion. No, my heart is not broken, but I feel like it's open. Please somebody do surgery, tell the doctor come work with me. I keep looking at my soul, praying but only God knows. And I've been working 9 to 9. Yeah, but they talk about it, but you know it's all fine. But who can say that I would be the man of your dreams? I will do all that I can and be all I can be.
I'll keep holding you down, even though you're
the album coming out soon, Thundercat. It's a new track from it, Ty Dolla $ign, Fair Chance. That's the name of the album as well. Kamasi Washington, I heard a song which featured him on the album. I can't wait to play you that one. New album, in fact she's got 2 coming out this week, I think. Princess Nokia. I really rate her. Somewhere between No Name and sort of Bahamadia or something. Really good. I'll play another track a little bit later. Gave you music as well from the Grand Brothers. I remember opening up my set at Dimensions about 5 or 6 years ago with that one. It was a good moment. Dilation is the album. Ezra was here. We're going to be catching up with some artists on lockdown and finding out what's going on in LA with Toki Monster, what's going on in Lagos with Sharon Kuti, and coming up, what's going on in Nottingham with Yasmin Lacey.
It's Yasmin Lacey here. I'm currently on lockdown in Nottingham in the UK, and yeah, it just feels really weird. Like, I was in London last week and the tube was totally empty, and I don't know, I just think it's a really strange time for everybody. But, you know, in my sort of the area that I'm living in, people are showing lots of acts of kindness, knocking on doors, helping people out, going to get things for people, helping out with childcare, and I think that's a really beautiful thing to see the community come together. It's just really, really, it just has such a big sort of impact on musicians and DJs, the sound engineers, bar staff, and a lot of people will be struggling and sort of even wondering if their projects will be able to continue. So I think everyone's feeling the strain, really. On the other hand, though, I really hope that maybe there will be some positives that come out of this crazy time. You know, sort of like a wider consciousness on threats to society, like climate crisis and stuff like that. Yeah, we're obviously all staying inside a lot, so I think my tip would be going out of the house for walks, and also I choose a morning song to set me up for the day ahead the night before, so I know, like, I'm kind of setting the tone kind of thing. So that would be my little tip for quarantine times. My new EP came out yesterday, and it's called Morning Matters, and it's just kind of about me making peace with the morning, really. For so long I've been such a night person, do you know what I mean? Only really coming to life like between 12 and 3 in the morning. So this was just about making peace with the morning, geeing myself up for the day, you know what I mean? This EP feels more hopeful than the other ones that I've made before. And I actually worked on this EP with the incredible Moses Boyd. And like, he's not just incredible because he's talented, but he's actually just such a nice guy. He's hilarious. And yeah, it was me and Jordan Hadfield and Moses in the studio for a couple of tracks, and we just had a lovely time. We just had like a really good time. I love those guys, and I'm really pleased with the way that it came out, and I hope that I get to work with Moses again. Yeah, there's loads of people I work with on here, like Femi Colioso and Ife from Ezra Collective as well. Ife laid the horns for the next track that I'm going to play you. which is called Morning Matters. It's the title track from this EP. Yeah, and I hope you like it.
This morning